According to USHistory.org, the Pledge of Allegiance was written in August 1892 by Francis B. Hongi.
Original form, it read, I pledge of allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In 1923, the words, the United States of America were added. At this time, it read, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
1954, President Eisenhower encouraged Congress to add the words under God, creating the 31st pledge we say today.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hi, I'm Danielle Ollendorf, and today I'm going to be discussing the importance of Veterans Day. When Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner almost 200 years ago, he called America the land of the free and the home of the brave. Those words are as true today as they were then. Throughout this nation's history, America's soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and Coast Guardsmen have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. We can never truly repay our debt of gratitude to the more than 650,000 American service members who died in battle, or the 1.4 million who were wounded. We can, however, recognize and thank the 25 million veterans still living today. These words are inscribed in the Korean War Memorial in Washington, D.C. Our nation honors her sons and daughters who answered the call to defend a country they never knew and people they never met. Those words apply equally to the World War I, World War II, Vietnam War, and Gulf War veterans as well. They apply to today's active duty service members, tomorrow's veterans, who are helping to maintain peace throughout the world. Today, it is our privilege to say thank you to all of America's veterans, to let them know that we appreciate them for their service and honor them for their sacrifices. The price of freedom is high. We cannot afford to forget those willing to pay for it. Today, we celebrate America's veterans for keeping the nation the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Veterans are boys. Veterans have uniforms. Veterans are men and women. Veterans can keep us safe. Veterans have families. Veterans are heroes. Veterans can fight for us. Veterans have memories. Veterans are a part of our community. Veterans are the heart of America.
Thank you, veterans!
Hello, my name is Gabe, and I am a senior at Wautoma High School, and I would like to recite a poem today to show my appreciation and the entire Wautoma Area School District's appreciation for all of our veterans. The poem I will be reading is Take a Moment to Thank a Veteran by Joanna Fuchs. When you see someone in a uniform, someone who serves us all, doing military duty, answering their country's call, take a moment to thank them for protecting what you hold dear. Tell them that you are proud of them and make it very clear. Just tap them on the shoulder, give a smile, and say, thanks for what you're doing to keep us safe in the USA. Thank you to all of our veterans out there. You mean more than you could ever imagine to all of us.
America had an urgent need, these brave ones raised a hand. No hesitation held them back, they were proud to take a stand. They left their friends and family, they gave up a normal life. To serve their country and their God, they plowed into the strife. They fought for freedom and for peace on strange and foreign shores. Some lost new friends, some lost their lives in long and brutal wars. Other veterans answered a call to support the ones who fought. Their country had requirements for the essential skills they brought. We salute every one of them, the noble and the brave, the ones who still with us today, and those who rest in a grave. So here's to our country's heroes, they're cut above the rest. Let's give the honor that is due to our country's very best.
I'm Mitchell Stake, and today I'm going to be reading The Best on Earth, a poem by Joanne Fuchs. If someone has done military service, they earn the title veteran and more. They earn our deepest respect and admiration, that they're special, no one can ignore. They sacrifice the comforts we enjoy. The list is long of all the things they gave. Our veterans are extraordinary people. They're loyal, dedicated, true, and brave. When terror and invasion were real threats, they showed us they could handle any storm. We owe our freedoms and our very lives to our veterans who served in uniform. Our veterans should be celebrities. They're exceptional. No other group compares. We're grateful for the many things they've done. They're always in our hearts and in our prayers. We owe our veterans support and friendship. Let no one ever question what they're worth. These men and women who served us and our country are veterans, the very best on earth.
first time we meet, I'm just another you see on the street. But I am the reason you walk and breathe free. I am the reason for your liberty. I am a veteran. I work in the local factory all day. I own the restaurant just down the way. I sell you insurance, I start your IV. I've got the best looking grandkids you'll ever see. I'm your grocer, your banker, your child's school teacher. I'm your plumber, your barber, your family's preacher. But there's part of me you don't know very well. Just listen a moment, I have a story to tell. I am a veteran. I joined the service while still in my teens. I traded my prom dress for camouflage greens. I'm the first in my family to do something like this. I followed my father like he followed his. Defying my fears and hiding my doubt, I married my sweetheart before I shipped out. I missed Christmas, then Easter, the birth of my son, but I knew I was doing something what had to be done. I served on the battlefront, I served on the base. I bound up the wounded and begged for God's grace. I gave orders to fire, I followed commands, I marched into conflict in far distant lands. In the jungle, the desert, and mountains and shores, in bunkers and tents, on dark earthen floors. While I fought on the ground, in the air, in the sea, my family and friends were home praying for me. For the land of the free and home of the brave, I faced my demons in foxholes and caves. Then one dreaded day, with the outdrummer of 5, I lost an arm, my buddy lost his life. I came home and moved on, but forever was changed. The perils of war and memory remain. I don't really say much, I don't feel like I can, but I left home a child and came home a man. There are thousands like me, thousands more who are gone, but their legacy lives as time marches on. White crosses in rows and names carved in clay remind us of what these brave souls had to do. I'm part of a fellowship, a strong, mighty band of each man and each woman who has served this great land. And when old glory waves, I stand proud, I stand tall. I helped keep her flying over you overall. I am a veteran. Andrea Christensen Brett.
Thank you for the privilege of being part of your Veterans Day program today. What an honor to be able to represent the 10,000 men and women of the Wisconsin National Guard on Veterans Day. 103 years ago today, the fighting stopped in what was, at that time, the deadliest war the world had ever known. Millions of people died, both on and off the battlefield. And 4 empires, the Russian, German, Ottoman, and Austro-Hungarian, ceased to be. The First World War changed the world and was so horrific that it was believed to be the war to end all wars. That's why the ceasefire, which began at 11 a.m. local time on November 11, 1918, was originally commemorated. Thousands of soldiers from Wisconsin's 32nd Division fought on the battlefields of France and Germany until the final moments leading up to the armistice that day. In the months before, the 32nd earned its now famous symbol, the red arrow, after breaking through every enemy line it encountered. The reputation the unit earned in combat during World War I was so fierce that they earned another nickname from the French, Les Terribles. Before the war's end, the 32nd had fought in 4 major campaigns and sustained thousands of casualties in the so-called War to End All Wars. But, of course, World War I did not end all wars. In fact, it sowed the seeds for the Second World War, and the Red Arrow once again played a critical role as it fought in brutal campaigns across the Pacific theater. Before the war's end, the 32nd had 654 days in combat, more than any other division in the war. Along the way, these soldiers suffered thousands of casualties, battled disease and unbearable conditions, fighting against a tough and determined enemy. Perhaps because the original Armistice Day did not end in a lasting peace. Our focus on this day shifted from a historic armistice which ended World War I, to the men and women who put on the uniform of our nation's military forces. As much as we long for peace and guard our nation to ensure it, we must always be prepared to bring our nation's might to bear against those who threaten our liberties and those of our allies. The Wisconsin National Guard continued that legacy of service in subsequent generations. As citizen soldiers and airmen, the National Guard is made up of small business owners, farmers, teachers, nurses, plumbers, welders, moms, and dads who mobilize when their nation calls them to serve. Often they are required to leave families and jobs for the better part of a year, but they continue that legacy of service, and their sense of duty prevailed, and they served our nation admirably when and where they were called. Whether active duty or reserve component, each service member joins an organization larger than themselves and takes an oath to serve in peace and in war, possibly at the cost of their own life, but certainly at a cost to their families. Often that cost was measured in first steps, first words, birthdays, graduations, weddings, and anniversaries that were missed. There is a commitment deep in the heart of our service members to do what it takes to accomplish the mission. And it is this commitment to our veterans that has led to victory for our nation over the years. Quite simply, the sacrifices borne by our nation's veterans from all the armed forces is what paved the way for the freedoms and prosperity we all enjoy today as a nation. We may have our differences in this country, but we are truly the most blessed nation in the world, thanks to the service and sacrifice of those who have worn this uniform. In the years since September 11th, 2001, another generation of Americans answered the call, this time in places like Iraq and Afghanistan, fighting a war against terrorism. Here in Wisconsin, more than 20,000 Wisconsin National Guard soldiers and airmen deployed to combat theater around the globe. And virtually every unit in the organization deployed. And even today on Veterans Day, hundreds of Wisconsin National Guard members are in harm's way around the globe. Our 135th Medical Company based in Waukesha is currently providing medical care in Kuwait and Iraq, while our Sparta and Viroqua-based 107th Maintenance Company is spread across Eastern Europe. Our 115th Fighter Wing out of Madison also recently deployed hundreds of airmen for its final F-16 deployment before transitioning to the F-35. And Milwaukee's 128th Air Refueling Wing continues to deploy airmen worldwide in support of global contingency operations. Over the past 5 decades, and certainly over the past 20 years, we have seen generations of veterans who volunteered to wear the uniform. Every generation of American has had its citizens who have been willing to serve, and some of you here today will likely volunteer to wear the uniform upon your graduation from high school. These Americans represent the very best of those generations, and we are lucky that such men and women lived. Military service is no longer a legal obligation for people of a certain age, but veterans will tell you they felt an obligation to serve our nation. Some did for only a short duration, while others made a career of 20, 30, or 40 years or more in uniform. All are deserving of our undying respect and gratitude as citizens of this great nation. It is for this reason that we set aside a day to acknowledge those who put the nation's uniform on and put their lives at risk for the sake of our country. Not to glorify war, but to honor those who put their country and their fellow service members ahead of themselves. Because deep down, we recognize and appreciate the values and qualities our veterans possess. Those values and qualities built our nation nearly 225 years ago, and they keep our nation strong and free today. Thank you for honoring this day and allowing me to share this honor with you.